Remember, the key to success is working hard. For our country we must have regard. Forget all your differences, let we start to build. And onward to progress we surely will. Because now, more than ever, we must show discipline, tolerance, and production to build a strong and better nation. I say that is the main foundation. So come let us work hand in hand, because this is our land. Come my brother, come my sister, and let us build a nation together.
Come, my brother, come, my sister, and let us build a nation together. Let us transform Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique together. This is our home, and we have a duty, a responsibility to make it better for our children and children. I want to welcome you to the hub. Again, we have a moment in time to reason, to dialogue, to talk. Those on Facebook and YouTube, I want to ask of you to share the live. Sharing is caring. I want to start off tonight by saying there are some people on the opposition side who believe that they are smart. There are many people on the opposition platform who believe that they are smart and they can say anything and convince the young people in particular to believe that what they're saying is the truth, and you can, pattern after it or think that it will happen if they're in power. I want us to take a look at Kate Lewis. She is the MP for St. Andrew Northeast, I think. She was either a junior minister of youth or a minister of youth, something like that, during the NNP's time. Here is what she said yesterday or recently.
We will continue to strengthen entrepreneurship support because we know that many of our young people, they have bright ideas. They have bold dreams. And all they need is a little push, a little startup capital, that training and mentorship to bring their dreams to reality. We will roll out employment strategies to increase job opportunities for our young people throughout the length and breadth of our country. And we will ensure that we connect training programs with real jobs so that every youth who wants to work can find a work.
Right. Well, you know how I do it. Let me go right to the start again, and let's take it slower now.
Strengthen entrepreneurship support because
we will strengthen entrepreneurship support.
We know that many of our young people,
because we know many of our young people,
they have bright ideas.
They have bright ideas.
Yes. They have bold dreams.
They have bold dreams.
And all they need is a little push.
And all they need is a little push. So she's talking about what the NNP will do. She's not talking about the NNP of 23 years and a half. But I have been saying on this program that the opposition party should be courageous enough to come out and applaud this government for what they are doing. So she's talking about what they will do, meaning the NNP. But let's look at what the government, this government, have done and continue to do. Because I often say, well, the NNP should be brave enough to come out and say, hey, this program is good, this initiative is good, this thing is good. They should applaud it. So she spoke about entrepreneurship and so on. Tell me about this initiative by the government.
Youth entrepreneurs will soon have access to a maximum of $30,000 under the Youth in Business Fund, a joint initiative between the Ministry of Youth and Sport and the Grenada Development Bank. The fund will consist of loans for startup and established businesses, which will carry a fixed interest rate of 1% with terms of 5 to 7 years. Both parties recently signed a memorandum of understanding. GDB's communications officer, Ria Murray, has more in this report.
The Government of Grenada and Grenada Development Bank are once again partnering to provide youth entrepreneurs with access to concessional financing. The Ministry of Youth and Sport and the GDB recently signed a memorandum of understanding for the Youth in Business Fund, which will offer concessional loans, grants, and technical support to young entrepreneurs with emphasis on agribusiness ventures. The initiative forms part of government's broader effort to promote youth entrepreneurship and job creation under the Ministry of Youth and Sports. Signing on behalf of the Ministry of Youth and Sports was Permanent Secretary Kim Frederick, and General Manager Royston Cumberbatch signed on behalf of the GDB at the bank's headquarters, Melville Street, St. George's. The Youth in Business Fund will aid startup and established businesses focused on apiculture, hydroponics and vertical farming, crop and livestock production, agro-processing, value-added products, and climate-smart and tech-integrated farming. The fund is designed to support registered beneficiaries of the program between the ages of 18 and 35, specifically targeting unemployed and underemployed individuals, as well as fishers, agricultural workers, agro-processors, and young entrepreneurs seeking to enhance their income-generating potential. The objective...
Right. So let's go back to what Kate said. So you just heard this piece from GIS speaking to this fund, this partnership set up between the Ministry of Youth and the Grenada Development Bank, where young people, young entrepreneurs can access finance up to $30,000, a grant of $3,000 on, I think it's 1% interest rate over 5 to 7 years. It's concessionary. It's like a grant in itself. So this partnership was signed. So young people can now access that financing, that support, if they want to start a business, if they want to expand what they have, if they want to go to the next level. So the government is doing that now. Kate Lewis, let's go back to what she said, because Kate Lewis spoke about that, what they intend to do, what the NNP intend to do, but the government is actually doing that right now.
We will continue to strengthen entrepreneurship support because we know...
Right, so we will continue to strengthen entrepreneurship support because we know
that many of our young people... they have bright ideas.
They have bright ideas.
They have bold dreams.
They have bold dreams.
And all they need is a little push.
And all they need is a little push.
A little startup capital. That training. And mentorship.
So this particular, let's go back to the initiative, because you see, Kate Lewis believes that she's the smartest camper in the room. So let's go back to that initiative again. You heard what she said twice, and I'm playing for you what this initiative is about again, so you can understand the government is doing these things. She's talking about who is this person? All right. Yeah, brother, you're calling me at the wrong time. I'm on my program live. All right. Okay, nice. Yes. So I am saying the government is doing these things. Kate Lewis is saying, well, the NNP will do it if they get into power. But the NDC administration is already doing it. So they are not coming with anything new or innovative or creative. All they do is to condemn and criticize the NDC. But the NDC administration is doing the very said thing that she's saying that the NNP will do if they get into office.
Youth entrepreneurs will soon have access to a maximum of $30,000 under the Youth in Business Fund, a joint initiative between the Ministry of Youth and Sport and the Grenada Development Bank. The fund will consist of loans for startup and established businesses, which will carry a fixed interest rate of 1% with terms of 5 to 7 years. Both parties recently signed a memorandum of understanding. GDB's communications officer, Ria Murray, has more in this report.
The Government of Grenada and Grenada Development Bank are once again partnering to provide youth entrepreneurs with access to concessional financing. The Ministry of Youth and Sports and the GDB recently signed a memorandum of understanding for the Youth in Business Fund, which will offer concessional loans, grants, and technical support to young entrepreneurs with emphasis on agribusiness ventures. The initiative forms part of government's broader effort to promote youth entrepreneurship and job creation under the Ministry of Youth and Sports. Signing on behalf of the Ministry of Youth and Sports was Permanent Secretary Kim Frederick, and General Manager Royston Cumberbatch signed on behalf of the GDB at the bank's headquarters, Melville Street, St. George's. The Youth in Business Fund will aid startup and established businesses focused on apiculture, hydroponics and vertical farming, crop and livestock production, agro-processing, value-added products, and climate-smart and tech-integrated farming. The fund is designed to support registered beneficiaries of the program between the ages of 18 and 35, specifically targeting unemployed and underemployed individuals, as well as fishers, agricultural workers, agro-processors, and young entrepreneurs seeking to enhance their income-generating potential. The objectives of the fund are to increase access to financing, promote sustainable business growth, job creation, and economic growth. The fund will consist of loans for startup and established businesses, which will carry a fixed interest rate of 1% with terms of 5 to 7 years and a maximum amount of EC $30,000. Grants of up to EC $3,000 will also be available.
Right. So you heard it there. This is an initiative of the government of Grenada. So they signed this agreement with the Grenada Development Bank. So Kate Lewis is not coming out and applaud the government for this initiative, but she goes on a platform and she speaks about what the NNP will do if they get into office. But she's not saying that the NDC is already doing it. She's not saying that. But she spoke about training because we put in her under the microscope. She spoke about training for young people. This government is doing that very thing.
Over 200 young women are set to benefit from the Elevator program, which is being spearheaded by the Division of Youth. Over the next 18 months, participants will receive intensive training in 3 key sectors: agriculture, health, and hospitality, all vital to the nation's development. During the launch at the Deluxe Cinema on Tuesday, officials emphasized that Elevator is not just a training program, but a stepping stone toward economic independence and personal empowerment for young women across the island. Participants from the Elevator program spoke and shared their opinions about the impact the program had on their personal and professional growth.
Well, I like the guest speakers and they really encourage us. I want that the young ladies to please let's not give up and let's make a difference. Whether you have this or you have that, come on, let's make a difference. There's a long way. The journey is very long, but we urge that we do not give up because we want to make something different for us and in the future. So please, let's not give up.
The goal is not just to provide training, but to create pathways to independence and long-term employment.
My biggest takeaway is no matter what happens in life, always keep strong, keep focused, and inspire to build yourself, inspire others, and grow. I'm looking forward to learning as much as I can, being a better person, building myself, helping others, and as a result, we'll be able to help our country.
My biggest takeaway was from my favorite inspiration, which is from Miss Anne-Marie Montrose. Always be willing to take small steps, be resilient, and never give up on your dreams. I'm looking forward to a very transformative journey towards this 1 year opportunity. I'm very excited to embrace my new skills and empower others as well.
As Grenada continues to invest in its people, Elevator is lighting the way for a new generation of empowered, educated, and employable women ready to lead the change.
Right. So that's a training program. 200 plus young women getting the opportunity to train, getting a stipend, getting the support that they need to better themselves. But that's the same thing that Kate Lewis and the NNP is actually offering. They are not offering anything new. They spoke about supporting the young people with their businesses and, investing, giving them the financing needed to create their own businesses and so on. This government is doing exactly that. Here's another program where young people are getting the opportunity.
Grenada has been commended for its vision to launch a program that will create limitless career opportunities for young people, with 100 of them to be trained in cybersecurity in the pilot stage. During the launch of the Grenada Digital Workforce Initiative on Wednesday, Rick Hybert, Program Director of Cyber Nations, applauded Grenada for recognizing the initiative as a necessary move. He highlighted that the country is now positioned to tap into the rapidly growing global digital job market. The initiative is a collaboration between the government of Grenada and Cyber Nations to the tune of more than $2 million. The pilot phase of the program will primarily focus on cybersecurity, aiming to train and place 100 Grenadians in the workforce. This effort is being carried out in partnership with Cyber Nations and Protexa, a global cybersecurity services provider. Hybert emphasized the vast opportunities in cybersecurity, noting that the global market offers over 3.5 million job opportunities in the digital workforce.
We live in a time where the digital landscape is both our greatest opportunity and in many ways our greatest challenge. Cybercrime costs the global economy over $8 trillion annually, a number that is staggering and growing. Yet this challenge brings with it a tremendous opportunity. With more than 3.5 million cybersecurity jobs unfilled worldwide, this industry represents not just a pathway to economic growth, but a chance for Grenada to stand as a leader in the global digital workforce. To the government of Grenada, I offer my deepest congratulations and gratitude. Your commitment to building a digital workforce and your recognition of cybersecurity as a critical pillar of this success and your vision for the future are commendable.
He encouraged the participants to seize the opportunity and develop their careers in this expanding field.
You are the pioneers of this program. You are stepping into an industry that needs your talent, creativity, and resilience. The work you will do not only will shape your future, but also strengthen your nation. We are here to support you every step along that way.
Simone Gill, a cybersecurity instructor from Barbados and a former recipient of the program, shared her personal experience and explained how the initiative helped her to transition into the cybersecurity industry.
This is not the time to rest on our laurels. Instead, it is time to equip ourselves with the skills and knowledge to confront these challenges head on. As I stand here, I am reminded of my own journey. Like many of you, I started with no background in IT or cybersecurity, and I was part of Cohort 1 in Barbados of this very program. As a mother with very many multifaceted roles, the road was far from easy, but I was determined. Through perseverance, teamwork, and the incredible guidance of the Cyber Nations faculty, I not only gained a solid understanding of cybersecurity, but also discovered my passion for this field. Today, I am honored to stand before you as a cybersecurity instructor, proof that this program can change lives.
Yes. So 100 young Grenadians got the opportunity to be a part of this training and employment thereafter, because the government invested $2,000 or so in 100 people, Grenadians. I think the program what $2 million. It's an investment of $2 million. And they automatically, once they complete the training, once they're successful, they get the opportunity to be a part of, the job market, right? They're employable. They get employment one time because there is need for that. But Kate is talking about what the NNP will do if they get back into power. But these things are being done now. So why she can't come out and applaud it and acknowledge that these programs are life-changing and creating opportunities for young people?
Close to 100 young people across the country are scheduled to commence training in 3 fields of agriculture, which includes crop production, livestock, and agro-processing. This is being made possible through the implementation of the Young Entrepreneurs in Agriculture and Agribusiness Project, a 3-year pilot project jointly funded by the Government of Grenada, CARICOM Development Fund, and the Grenada Development Bank. The orientation for this training was...
Right. So again, youth in agriculture, 100 or so young people being trained, being supported in agro-business, in agro-processing, and we can go on and on, agriculture generally. That's young people. You see, the NNP is thinking debushing. They're thinking Imani training program. Come on. The NDC met the Empower program, for example. That was a good initiative. What did they do? The NDC increased the stipend given to the Empower program beneficiaries, and they increased the grant given to the successful beneficiaries of the program, those who complete the program. So they used to get $700. Now they're getting $1,000. They used to get $2,400. Now they're getting $3,000.
Government is answering the call of the young people of Grenada to create the enabling environment for them to thrive. More than 300 young men in the Empower 4.0 program will see an increase in their stipend and a further increase in the grant allocation on completion of the program. Minister for Youth, Honorable Delma Thomas, made the announcement during the program's quarterly meeting on Thursday, which marked the end of the soft skills component and signaled the start of the direct skills component.
Right. So the NDC met that program. It was a program from the NNP, but they did not stop the program. They continue to bring in more young people into it. It rose to about 400 young men in that program because, different, I think they call it different class, 4.0 and that kind of thing. So they enhance it. They decided it's a good program. A lot of young men getting training, starting up their own business, becoming productive citizens. We will keep this program. We will increase the stipend given to them. We'll increase the grant given to them upon completion of the program, which is a brilliant thing to do. So the NNP is talking about, well, we will do this when we get there, but the NDC is already doing it. The NDC is already doing it. Young Women in Agriculture, another brilliant initiative. It's about $7 million.
The Ministry of Agriculture, Lands, Forestry and Marine Resources has launched an innovative new project aimed at enhancing agricultural production across the country, focusing on vegetable farming, sea moss production, apiculture, and agro-processing led by women. Titled
Because it only tells you where we want to
Gender
go
Responsive and
to.
Climate Smart Agriculture and Food Systems in the Caribbean, the project seeks to empower women and youth to build climate resilience in agriculture. The official launch took place at the Radisson Grenada Beach Resort, attracting a diverse group of agro-processors for an inception workshop. The workshop featured presentations from experts who shared insights on Grenada's vegetable production, the sea moss and apiculture value chains, and various agro-processing opportunities. It aims to build capacity, promote climate-smart technologies, strengthen market linkages, and address gender-related challenges in agriculture. Funded by Canada to the tune of $7.3 million and implemented by the FAO, this initiative is set to
Right,
run
that's 7 million, and that program will run for, I think, 3 or 4 years.
over the next 4 years.
Over the next 4 years. I am saying the NDC is at work, but the NNP, they're out there giving you the impression that things are not happening, and if they get into office, they will do X and they will do Y. But what they're telling you that they will do, the government of the day is already doing it. I want that to make sense. Somebody has to make that make sense for me. The creatives, for example, they're young people, the creatives, right? There are young people in the mix who are getting opportunities, 100% concession, funding again from the GDP. The government created this Creative Industries Cultural and Development Fund at the GDP to support them so they can access financing, right? So, and it's important, very
The
important.
creative industry, like many other industries, has the typical challenge of financing operations. But I think it's even more unique with the creative sector because most of them are medium to micro enterprises. Additionally, the outputs that the sector produces on
Right. So,
in most instances,
make it that right. It seems as though it's
additionally, the outputs that the sector produces on in most instances physical goods. They are intangible goods or services, and it's hard for financial institutions to properly evaluate and value these goods and services and provide the right type of financing. And so when we had our conference, the Unleash conference in May of last year, financing and the challenges of financing was one of the main pain points the creatives raised. And so we decided, let's design a fund to address this need in the medium short term. And so we launched the Creative Industries Business Development Fund, Cultural and Creative Industries Business Development Fund, with the sole purpose of providing financing for the creative sectors. But the beauty about this fund is that it's multifaceted. It focuses on grants. So, and that focuses on the non-for-profit organizations or the community-based organizations who aren't necessarily in the business for profit, but they provide a significant social good. So that's your theater companies, your dance schools, and so forth, who can get financing to upgrade the equipment and enhance their operations. We also have a loan component for the persons who are running hardcore businesses in the creative sector. And it is a concessionary loan, I think it's 2%. So persons can come and apply for that loan and finance their operations. But we went a bit further because we do realize that most creatives, they focus a lot on their craft and they don't understand the business aspect of things. And so developing business plans and concept notes is not something most are familiar with. So we created a voucher system that allows persons who have a business, don't have a business plan, or even have a business idea but don't have a business plan, to come to the Office of Creative Affairs, get the voucher approved, and then they can hire one of our identified business support consultants to develop their business plans. You can then take that business plan and come back and apply for a loan to finance the operation. So we've thought about almost every scenario where a creative we need financing and provided the appropriate solution for that. And this is a fund that's financed 100% by the government's finances, and is administered through the GDB. So we have all the relevant due diligence and processes in place to make sure that we are adhered to whatever fiducial requirements needs to be adhered to.
Right. So this is good. The creatives, young people, photographers, poets, hosts and hostesses of talk shows and programs, videographers, those in theater and drama, artists, and so on. We are talking about young people who are a part of this industry, making stuff, creating stuff, and they needed access to finance. They're now able to get that, thanks to the government of Grenada. Then they gave concessions, 100% concession.
As you know, the creative industry, while it might just look as entertaining, but it's a very expensive industry.
The biggest problem that we face in the industry is the availability of equipment. Even after you buy them, there's this high cost to get it into the country, especially if it's something big.
Some of the biggest challenges that I've faced in the space at the time, really and truly, I mean, most creatives face the same issues of being able to access tools, access knowledge, access resources in a space where some of it doesn't exist.
For me, this 100% concession gives me an opportunity to expand my business, and it will give me an opportunity to take my business in the direction that I've envisioned it over the last few years.
The 100% concession given by government towards the creative industry is going to help us a very long way. It simply means that we can invest more in ourselves and more into the business.
Well, the 100% allows us to level up a little. We have access to more stuff, more equipment, and that gives us the vibes to keep pushing and keep, as I said, leveling up the thing a little bit more, so that we get that internationally recognized quality, whether it's in movie and film or in music or drama or whatever it is. We have that access to things that allow us to do that.
Previously, we had the taxes that we have to pay on every piece of the item that we bring in. I think it's like 44.4 or something like that. Don't quote me on it. But now that we have 100% concession, you can buy tools, equipment, resources, software. You can even engage more human resource personnel to come into your business. So that means you can really expand.
I think that this initiative by the government to allow 100% concession for creative is indeed a step in the right direction.
Right. These are young people in film, in music, photography, videography, artists. This is young people. So when Kate Lewis, and I played all of this so you can understand where I am coming from. So when Kate Lewis goes on a platform and she says,
we will continue to strengthen entrepreneurship support, because we know that many of our young people, they have bright ideas. They have bold dreams, and all they need is a little push, a little startup capital, that training and mentorship to bring their dreams to reality. We will roll out employment strategies to increase job opportunities for our young people throughout the length and breadth of our country.
You see, the problem I have with NNP and people like Kate Lewis, they are not mature enough to come publicly and acknowledge the good things that the NDC administration is doing, and in this case, for young people. You see, it's one thing to say what you intend to do. It's another thing to acknowledge that it's being done now. And it's being done. That is what is important, because all that she spoke about is being done nicely. A lot of young people are getting support. A lot of young people are starting their own businesses. A lot of people young people are in training. They're given a stipend. Because you see, the NNP only think about the new Imani training program or the debushing program. That's what they see. Young people should be under that program. But you have a lot of new Imani trainees who are supposed to be in that program for 18 months. During the NNP time, they stayed for 5 years. In fact, one stayed for as long as 8 years. The most productive time in the life of a young person. You're going to keep them in a training program receiving a stipend of $700 for 8 years, when you can transition them into the actual job market, right? Where they can get a decent salary and take care of themselves and their family. So the NNP is thinking in the past. They are not forward thinking. They are more regressive. They do not have vision or foresight. Because she's talking about things that the NDC administration is actually doing as we speak. But she's saying to the public, the NNP will do that once they get into power. But the NDC is already doing it. But she believes that she's smart. She believes that she's educated enough to fool the people who are not or who may not be at her level. So she speaks in that language. She makes those statements, not realizing that there are people out here who can scrutinize it, who can examine it, and expose her. She's a fake, in my belief, because all that this woman spoke about are actually either they were done already or being done. Not will be done, and the NNP will do this and will do that. So folks, I played this tonight because as we draw closer to stupid season, and you know every Wednesday, the NNP, they have some kind of, I don't know if it's a meeting, because many a times they don't have a lot of people attending. It's poorly attended, and the rubbish that comes from the mouth of those speakers, it is not even good for the ears, much less the mind. I am saying, when you listen to them, you realize that they don't have substance. You realize they don't have vision. They don't have creativity, and they can't come up with anything new or anything creative. They can't. All they think of is the new Imani training program. That's all they think about. We have gone past that. You have the digital workforce initiative, for example, where the government invested $2 million. Our beloved Prime Minister visited Canada, had the opportunity to speak to the right people, and they connected him to the right people. And he was able to come back to Grenada, have the technical people conceptualize a training program with this institute in Canada and engage them. They agreed and they trained 100 young people. And the government invested $2 million in that training. And it's a training where you complete it, you get a job opportunity one time because there is space for you. It was done in Barbados. It was done in Grenada. That is forward thinking in cyber security and data analysis and, in ICT generally. That's where the world is going. Not New Imani training program. The Elevate Her initiative, again, is a good initiative, giving young women the opportunity to realize their potential. Because you have to really get the kind of support to unleash the skills and talent and really get the financing to start up something. Then you look at agriculture, youth in agriculture, $3-point-something million. Women in agriculture, $7-point-something million. Giving them the opportunity to plant, giving them the opportunity to add value to what they plant, package it, label it, sell it, and earn something. Utilize modern technology and the equipment that's available, and given the support, giving them the financing to move to the next level, creating jobs for themselves and employing other young people. That is the direction this country is going. Not with a New Imani training program or some debushing program to cut bush on the side of the road. So when she speaks, she believes that people are not listening and dissecting what she's saying. The government is on the right track. Look at the free tuition policy. This is big. I know of young people who didn't get the opportunity to go on to college after finishing secondary school. But with this policy, where the government is paying your tuition for the 2 years or the 3 years, they got the opportunity to go back to college and complete college. In fact, sometime last week, I met a lady and I was like, but you're 30-something, 40-something years. And I saw her with a college jersey and a backpack. And I asked her, I said, you're going to college? She said, yes. She said she decided to go back to college because she didn't get the opportunity. Her parents couldn't afford to pay the tuition. And because the government is giving her that opportunity, she applied and she got entry to college. And she's happy. She will be able to fulfill her desire to become X, Y, and Z one day. But she needed that college degree. So she's going at it. I'm saying to you, you're talking about thousands and thousands of young people getting the opportunity to complete college. I remember meeting a friend many years ago, and she said to me, she wants to go back to college. She wants to go back to school and to go back, to go in college. Not back in college, but in college, because she was not in college. Because she wants to make something out of her life. She wants to be able to get a college degree. So don't put it aside that everybody had access to college and their parents could have afforded afforded that money. You see, I'm saying the government has done a really good thing, assisting the young people who want to access tertiary level education to do so. And not only TAMCC, but NULO, where they're able to learn a skill, become a carpenter, become a mason, become a plumber, become an electrician, become a tailor, become a seamstress, become a chef, become something. I'm saying, folks, it is important that you understand the new trust, the direction that this government is going. This government is serious about youth development, about the growth of that young man or young woman, and guiding them in the right direction. The first generation scholarship, that was never a thing under the NNP. That was never a thing under the NNP. The NDC came into power and they decided to embark upon the first generation scholarship, where somebody in that house will become the first to attend a university and get a first degree. That's significant. That's grand. That's big. So we have seen 2 batches, or the first cohort, the second cohort, getting that opportunity. I think they reached to 200 and something, getting that opportunity to study at Monroe University. All right? But that's a brilliant thing by the NDC administration. Again, helping young people. Because the majority of people who are getting that scholarship, they are young people. And they can become something. Come on. We are no longer thinking New Imani training program and the bushing program and this kind of thing anymore. We're moving forward. We have a visionary leader. The NDC administration is working with a plan, and they're investing significantly in youth development, youth and sports. Things are happening for our people. I personally know of young people who, for the first time, got the opportunity to go on to university through a scholarship paid for by the NDC administration, by the government of Grenada. This first generation scholarship program is a very, very important one. And it will impact Grenada positively in the short term, medium term, and long term, but more so long term. But this is what a visionary government does. So Kate Lewis on a platform saying those things, that, in other words, this is what the NNP intend to do or will do if they get into power. The NDC is already doing many of these things and more. So you need to wheel and come again. Come with something new. Come with something innovative. Come with something creative. Tell us something that we don't know. Tell us something that we have not seen or heard of. Conceptualize something that's authentic and that would wow us or excite us. Because what you're talking about now, it's already happening. But you're saying that you will do it once the NNP gets into power. But you're talking about what's happening. And you need to be courageous enough, Kate Lewis and the others on NNP side, Applaud the government when they roll out good initiatives. Applaud them. The Elevate Her program, that's a good program. Youth in agriculture, that's a good program. Women in agriculture, that's a good program. The workforce, the digital workforce initiative, that's a good initiative. Come on. The partnership between the Youth Ministry of Youth and the Grenada Development Bank to give young people the opportunity to get financing, to start their own business and so on. That's a good thing. The 100% concession to creatives, they're young people. It's a good thing. Access to financing for creatives. Young people, again, that's a good thing. That's a brilliant thing. The increasing of the stipend for the Empower program beneficiaries or participants. That's a good thing, or trainees. That's a good thing. The increasing of the grant. That's a good thing. The increasing of the stipend for the Imani trainees. That's a good thing. That's a wonderful thing. The youth parliament, the actual youth parliament. That's a good thing where young people are being heard. They're debating real resolutions and discussing issues that affect youth. Come out and applaud those things. Applaud the good things that are happening. Too many negativity. You're too negative and quick to condemn and quick to criticize and quick to attack and quick to... Come on. There are good things happening for the young people of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique. And you must be woman enough or man enough to come out and acknowledge it. Because if you don't do that, we can't take you serious. We can't. In other words, you're only concerned about getting into power. You're not concerned about Grenada and being genuine. Because if you see good things happening, you're not acknowledging it, you're not talking about it, but you're quick to condemn the NDC or the government. And many a times, you concoct stories. You create this thing and you start talking about these things. But if it goes before a fact-checking panel or machine, it will turn up to be fake. So I'm saying, Grenadians, home and abroad, our government is at work. Our government is a visionary one. Our government believes in the young people of this country, and they're investing significantly in them. And they're speaking about it. They're telling the stories about the kind of investment and the returns they're getting on it. Let me play for you the response from the Most Honorable Deacon Mitchell regarding the U.S. REDA installation request.
Regarding, and I'm sure that you know that is much making the rounds practically everywhere, every talk show, every social media platform. That is the conversation regarding, you know, the U.S. request. And you did say you would make a formal announcement on, would it also include what the response would be?
No, it's really to provide an update. Nothing much has changed since the Ministry of Foreign Affairs indicated that we were considering the request. We are still doing so. It is a technical matter that requires a lot of technical people to provide us with guidance on what it is we've been asked to accommodate. And so it's important. The public became aware of this through media reports, and we responded. But this request was made since August. We're in October. So if we were in a position to make a decision, August, September, October, and if we wanted to rush to do so, we could have done so. So the fact is, and that's why I think it's important for people to appreciate, whether it's the United States or any other regional country, there are always requests for us to cooperate on any number of areas, particularly when it comes to things like security. So for example, and I'll give an example between Grenada and Trinidad, there are always instances where we will ask the Trinidadian authorities to cooperate with us in deporting people or providing intelligence on people. There are times when the Trinidadian government will ask us we will have to consider those requests and say yea or nay, depending on the nature of the request. So when it comes to policing and security matters, there are always, whether it's Coast Guard, whether it's the police, whether it's the civil aviation authorities, whether it's the Ministry of National Security, there are always ongoing requests that we consider. I'll give examples. We've had requests where in the past, the French, for example, will ask us for permission to be able to board a vessel carrying a Grenadian flag somewhere up in the northern Antilles. Because it's carrying a Grenadian flag, it means its jurisdiction is Grenada. If we say no, they're not able to do so. If we say yes, they're able to do so. It could be for drug interdiction, it could be for human trafficking, it could be for any number of reasons. In this case, the request that is provided has a certain context. It is a request from the U.S. Southern Command from a military perspective. Grenada has no military. So it is not something just right off the bat that we are familiar with. So that immediately makes it a different type of request, which is why we have to consider the pros and cons of whether we agree or not. And that is essentially what we are dealing with. I appreciate that because of the history of the Morris Bishop International Airport, because October in particular is tied to that history, and because the media reports came out in October, that it is a highly emotional issue for everyone. But for me as the Minister for National Security, we have to validate that. We have to take into account, and I'm extremely happy that the public has had extensive debating. They've shared their views. They've spoken about it. People have made their comments. People have sent their suggestions. People have made their recommendations. It shows the vitality of our democracy. It shows that freedom of speech is alive and well in Grenada. And it shows that we have a government that clearly understands that, because we made no decision. If we had made a decision without informing the public, without discussions with the public, it would have been a different thing. So for me, I have no issue with the raging debate that's taking place. It's just part and parcel of our democracy. But at the end of the day, these matters, the public view will obviously weigh heavily. And we still have to continue the process of the legal and technical engagement. And if we even get to that point, we will then consult with the public as to what is the appropriate decision to be made. So while the emotion, the debate and so on is welcome, decision making always has to be made in a sober, fact, evidence-based, weighing the pros and cons in the overall context of everything else that is happening. But it's important for me to emphasize that Grenada has excellent relations with each and every country in the Western Hemisphere. There is no country that Grenada doesn't have diplomatic relations with or has any challenges with. When it comes to partnership, from time to time we'll have difference of views, from time to time we may even have falling outs on a particular issue or a particular matter. That's the nature of diplomacy, that's the nature of international relations. You get over them and you move on. So I have no issue with the debate, I have no issue with everybody giving their opinions on the matter. And although I said I will give a statement, in a sense I'm probably giving a statement right here, because to a large extent I will be repeating a lot of what I've said here in Parliament, just perhaps giving a more chronological detail of the timeline involved and where we are.
Where we're working,
yeah.
Right. Very nice. Very nice there. So our beloved Prime Minister speaking to us there about this whole thing. And I think he kind of gave us enough information for now, because they have not said yes or no. They've not done that. And I think they move that announcement to a further date. I don't know if it's next Friday or next Thursday. All right. But I don't think it's this Friday. But let's see. But really, he's saying we have not yet gave an answer or, responded to the request. Right. Folks, I want to wish you all the best. But before I do so, our beloved Prime Minister became political leader of the NDC some 4 years ago. And he will be having a branch meeting on Thursday the 29th, that's tomorrow, at the Westall Secondary School. The meeting will also celebrate the 4th anniversary of the election of the political leader of the NDC. Come early for PTS with the political leader. Honorable Deacon Mitchell photo op start at 6:30. So you can go there at 6:30 and take some photos with our beloved Prime Minister and political leader of the NDC, and you can take in the meeting. It's a branch meeting. It's really a meeting for the people.
Attention, St. David community, join us for a special
Right, so it's for St. David Moso, but I want to believe it. So everybody, all right, everybody who wants to be a part of this, well, the mere fact that he sent it to me to promote, I want to believe it would be for everybody. All right. So in terms of the celebration, maybe they would have their meeting, but in terms of the celebration, that would be a good thing. You can go there, because I think they sent me an audio too. Just looking for the audio. I can maybe play the audio for you. All right, because it's tomorrow. It's tomorrow. Maybe I can play the audio there.
Attention, St. David community, join us for a special constituency branch meeting this Thursday, October 23rd at 7 p.m. to be held at the Wester Hall Secondary School. This isn't just any meeting. We're celebrating the 4th anniversary of our incredible political leader, Honorable Dickon Mitchell. Come out early for exclusive photo opportunities with Honorable Mitchell, starting at 6:30 p.m. Don't miss your chance to capture this special moment. Join us for important discussions, community updates, and a night of celebration. Save the date this Thursday, October 23rd at Wester Hall Secondary School from 7 p.m. Let's make a difference together.
Right, so that's tomorrow. So it seems as though they're having an after event. So the branch meeting, well, the photo op, taking photos and so on, the branch meeting, and then they're having a celebrations at the Wester Hall Secondary School. So all are invited to that. Make it a date and don't be late. That's tomorrow. God's willing, tomorrow is the 23rd of October. Folks, I want to wish you all the best. Have a wonderful night. Take good care. I'll be back with you in the Dynamic Hour tomorrow, God's willing, from 8 a.m.